I hope we get molested.
Hello, children!
Trick or treat!
Oh, look at your little costumes! Sadly, I don't think I have anything. Oh, hold on 1 second! Oh, here we go. You little girl look like you need a syringe or something. Probably my blood from my last the last trick-or-treater. And a bottle of whiskey for the gentleman, because he should come in. Maybe we can have a drink together. Say, little girl, would you like to come and wrestle? I mean to talk about wrestling. Would you like to come in and talk about wrestling?
Sure would. Candy.
Just take a seat right over here.
Candy. I get naked.
God, this thing is stupid.
I'm in Wilson car.
Welcome to the Hardways Halloween Spectacular, where we obviously are the worst filmmakers in the history of the business. However, we're better than the things that we already were talking about in previous episodes that we're going to talk about here tonight with Halloween Havoc. But Halloween Havoc was brilliant.
In the beginning.
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was a Halloween-esque kind of show. Then it becoming it was on DVD or VHS at the time, and then went to pay-per-view. Eventually with with WCW or NWO and that stuff.
They never had Michael Myers.
So the first main event was Freddy versus Jason. And
in a finger bang match.
And I think Michael Myers was the
special guest referee.
Yeah, and then I think the bell keeper was the girl from The Exorcist.
Linda Blair?
Yeah, whatever her name was in that.
Regan?
Yeah, I think that was her name.
Ronald Reagan.
So, now, obviously, if you remember, the first one was Muda. I need fake blood. Start squirting. Was it Great Muda and somebody else?
For the main event?
Yeah. The main event was Great Muda and it was somebody was throwing in the towel. Remember? It was
Terry. It was him.
Terry
and Terry
Funk against Sting and Flair, which is funny because Sting and Flair, everyone knows them as their big feud.
And the cage caught on fire.
The cage, it was a cage, but it was like a normal rectangular steel cage, but then the top bent inward, and they mentioned like a prison. Yeah, the cage caught fire and they couldn't get it out. Muda climbed the cage and spit out the fire with his poison mist. Apparently, poison
cures
mist
fire.
Cures fire. I would have thought it was flammable for just ignited the arena on fire. So. I mean, the first couple pay-per-viewers or events of Halloween Havoc were really cool, really fresh, really interesting. Tony Schiavone dressed as...
Do the kids use that word anymore? Fresh?
Well, I'm not a kid anymore. So, so...
Tony Schiavone?
Dressed as...
Dracula?
Fan of the Opera, a Dracula. Jim Ross dressed as a gangster. And Paul Heyman is Paulie Dangerously dressed as
Dracula.
And he spit the teeth out, like saying he couldn't stand having the teeth in.
They seem to use Dracula every year, but somebody different played Dracula. Because Bischoff is Dracula.
Schiavone, Paul Heyman, that was the first or second.
Who dressed as Jesse Ventura the one year? Was that Schiavone?
Yeah.
Schiavone
dressed and Ventura was the other commentator, so there was two Jesse Venturas on the mic that time. So... any thoughts randomly of some of the things that you had that you remember from Halloween Havoc?
What was the cage? The Chamber of Horrors match?
Yo, yeah. Abdul, Butcher, Cactus Jack, Vader, and Scott Hall, the Diamond Stud.
Yes.
Versus the Steiner, Sting, and somebody. And the object of the match is it kind of looked like that dumb...
Oh, Foley was in there. Did you say Foley?
Yeah, it's a Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Dig now.
It's WCW. So they fought, and it was like that cage from the first whatever that cage match they had in the first Halloween Havoc. But then in the center they had a chamber, an electric chair.
Yeah, with like a small enough cage to go around that, and a little bit bigger.
And the object was you got to put your opponent in there, strap them, which took 10 minutes itself to cuff them, put the little headgear on, which never fit any of the wrestlers.
Yeah, it never came far enough down.
And then you had to pull the lever,
which was all the way on the other side of the cage.
Yeah, it wasn't like right beside the thing, and that led to some stupidness when the halfway through the match the lever fell. So technically, whoever was in there should have been electrocuted, and obviously, no one. And then Abdullah Butcher got thrown. Rick Steiner reversed Abdullah the Butcher, putting him in the chair with a belly to belly suplex into the chair, and
Foley was looking away. Cactus Jack was looking away, kind of playing to the crowd. That would have been awesome special effect. 3D was playing to the crowd, and somehow didn't see the turnaround, so when he pulled the switch, it was Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, and
sparks flew, the power went out.
Part of the ring caught on fire.
Part of the ring caught on fire.
Yeah, wow. But, you know...
Some of the later ones with, like Vader, Sting, Vader, Cactus Jack matches.
Yeah. Remember the weird rules, though? They had that Vader and Cactus Jack match. It was
you couldn't win.
Okay.
Pins
didn't count, but you could pin the opponent and get a 30-second break, and then
falls also counted anywhere in the building.
Right, but it was a last man standing match. It was whoever couldn't answer a 10-bell count. So what was the point of having falls in general, anyways? So they could take a break. Apparently, they needed TV timeouts. I don't know. It was whatever. WCW.
They could have been
at the prime.
They could have been like Orton and just put the guy in a headlock for like.
Yeah, jeez. I think Vader would know how to do that. But
breaking back.
You know, even the crappy Halloween Havocs, the cool thing was everyone kind of like dressed in characters. You had the sets were unbelievable, especially when Bischoff had the money.
Remember Missy Hyatt dressed in character?
I think that was her character. So the sets were really elaborate. They always looked like some crazy like mausoleum tomb thing, like very dark. They had a big blow up pumpkin that said Halloween Havoc.
Well, remember,
great.
Piper made his
WCW debut.
WCW debut at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
And Warrior had his one and only match.
Right, yeah.
At Halloween Havoc.
And the infamous fireball incident where Hogan couldn't get the flash paper to put off of his own face and singed his eyebrows, and that was terrible. And there was a lot of decent matches. There were some Guerrero matches there. DDP fought Goldberg.
I think one of the most famous matches from Halloween Havoc that most people would remember was the Guerrero and Mysterio had a feud for a while.
Yeah.
It built up to Halloween Havoc, which, God, I wish feuds would build up.
Oh, I know.
They, nowadays it's just...
They happen.
But Ray had the all-body costume because it was... was it just a mask? Like, you got to take the mask off, or was there something?
No, it was mask versus title. If Ray didn't win the match, he could never have the title, like a title match again, and he had to lose his mask. So that was the only way that Eddie would agree for the match, was to actually have, his mask on the line. And that's on all the Rey Mysterio DVDs. Like, it's on the Eddie DVD. I mean, that's been a really big match that WWE's taken advantage of and shown a lot.
And since he never existed in WWE, lots of Benoit all over.
Yeah, and surprisingly, looking through all the match listings,
Alex Wright.
Yeah, a lot of the Wonder Kid, Alex Wright.
Disco Inferno.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had that much cruiserweight championship matches or reigns. Oh, why? And then the last couple Halloween Havocs, just who gives a crap about Mike Sanders? And
don't even know who he was.
I know they had Brad Armstrong won a match on a later Halloween Havoc. Brett Armstrong, I remember, is the guy that would job on like Saturday night to Cactus Jack or somebody.
Armstrong won a match too.
Yeah, it's the thing is it was on the main event because apparently towards the end when main event, it was Sunday night's main event, I think so it was called, that they would air live at the pay-per-view. Yeah, and what the cool thing was is they showed the matches at the same arena. So if you were a kid and you couldn't buy the pay-per-view, one thing that I always wanted to see what the sets look like. So I got to see what the set looked like, and that was always a treat. That was cool. I wish we had more pre-shows that weren't those pre-taped segments. I wish there was like that Sunday Night Heat.
Oh, but then there was also the awesome Black Scorpion stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, where they disappeared to one side of the stage to the other, and Sting would run to the other, and run to the back. It was like a really weird off-Broadway.
But there was a curtain, so it wasn't like they ran behind the curtain.
No. He teleported.
It was
Magic.
Penn and Teller wouldn't be able to figure that stuff out.
Nope.
It was magic.
No, of course not.
Magic.
Oh, but
Chris Angel type magic.
I think that the most well-known thing of Halloween Havoc was the amazing monster truck go on the roof between the Giant and Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
The Giant, who was the Big Show.
Right, and Hulk Hogan, who is the man that's in Brooke Hogan's reality show.
And also, kind of running TNA?
Yes, no, yeah. It's in that stupid midget championship, micro championship wrestling, whatever the heck that is.
But that was a double match because they had...
I guess we call the first one a match.
Each one had their own monster truck.
And they drove it.
I remember, was it the Hogan one that had the arms?
It had arms on the sides like fists because it was based off... I'm kind of a monster truck guy. There was a monster truck called Samson that had big arms, so they used that truck and repainted it. It was also an American Gladiators truck at the same time. So it had the big arms, and it's an American Gladiator. So that truck could be repurposed for like a billion different things. And it was a sumo match. They took the top of the arena, and then they had a big like ring, and then I think that the trucks were like connected, and then they just drove as hard as they could on water. If you notice, the top of the arena had water on it.
But then the Giant got out.
Yeah.
They fought. He fell off the roof, which led to the greatest line where
he fell off the roof of the arena they were wrestling in. This wasn't like
it wasn't a regular arena. It was a huge.
I don't remember where it was filmed. It was really big. Yeah.
But Bobby Heenan asked Tony Schiavone. He's like, well, which side did he fall off of? The side with the parking lot or the side with the water? And he's like, does it really matter? But the funny thing was they never explained how the Giant was able to come back.
Yeah, because he wrestled the main event against Hogan. And he won. That was the one where he won the title, right? That was his first real match, I believe.
That was long. That was about, what, a year or so before the Hollywood Hogan stuff?
Yeah, I think it might have been a year. I think that was the last Halloween Havoc before that Bash at the Beach. So yeah, I think that was all that Dungeon of Doom, because that's when the Giant debuted, was the Dungeon of Doom. So yeah, oh man, what the heck? What the heck were they thinking? So we'll go right from there into, instead of doing a top 5 of each of us of the worst like costumed, gimmicky characters that
we're just
were
gonna do the top.
Not just a guy in a mask, but like a guy that was like head to toe, like he eat, sleep, and breathe this character kind of thing. I don't know, man. Some of these guys probably did. We're going to do a top 10. We decided to work together for the benefit of this video.
The benefit of all kind.
We have a top 10.
Do not repeat these gimmicks.
Well, they'll be repeatable because they've already kind of been repeated. So, we'll start with our number 10. Mr. America.
Oh yeah, brother.
Hulk Hogan, maybe.
No, yeah, it could have been.
Maybe. I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. The reason why I thought is he had the same handlebar mustache. But he looked like Captain America.
Didn't he have the same theme music, too?
Yeah, he had the, Rick Springsteen, or Rick Springfield? Wasn't that the song? That was the name of the song? Yeah, that was the guy's name that did that song, like Rick Springsteen. Yeah, are you sure? I think it was. He came out with the American flag, fought Mr. McMahon.
Mr. America versus Mr. McMahon.
2003, 2004 SmackDown when really no one... If you think people don't watch SmackDown now, no one watched it then. Because no one watched Raw then.
People actually did because Lesnar was on there at that time.
Oh, yeah. Wow, Lesnar had to really work his ass
I think The
off,
Rock was
work his
still
butt off.
around.
No, this is right after. This is not too far after it. This is like when they had nothing in, like, they had nothing down the road, so it was stupid. Stupid! Granted, I think it's kind of funny in some way. It was a guy with the big star in his head. Whatever, I can't believe Marvel didn't sue him. Surprisingly. Number 9, Abe Knuckleball Schwartz, the baseball wrestler. During the strike, dressed in a baseball character, as a baseball player, with a baseball on his face. So it makes perfect sense. If you're a baseball player, you put a baseball on your face.
So it was Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler?
Yeah, it was the Brooklyn Brawler. He should have at least came down with baseball, man. He should have used the baseball bat, because he was a heel. Just use baseball bat, called the home run. I mean, come on.
Could have drop-kicked guys with cleats on.
Oh, that's perfect. Wow, that's great. I like it.
Could have did matches instead
baseball
of...
slide. Has the guy in the corner, baseball slide to the groin, you know? Like if
also, like the Four Corners matches, they could have had it like they were the bases.
Oh, that's perfect. But sadly, everything that we just talked about how something we could have done that would have worked was the complete opposite with Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. And I just can't believe that it existed. So we're going to go to number 8, which is... Okay, all these are dumb. But Friar Ferguson, the fact that you had a wrestling friar. And the guy that played the character, this wasn't his only bad character. We could have. Well, what was the other one? He did a
Norman the Lunatic.
Norman
was his first one. In
sadly, this guy.
Norman the Lunatic, sadly, was the coolest one out of all the gimmicks.
Yeah, and the fact that the reason why we didn't put the other ones is Bastion Booger was just him and making fun of him as he's fat.
Then he ate in the ring. And
and then he had those straps that the way they did it made it look like he had a hunchback. But the fact that he was a friar that was supposed to be wrestling just didn't make any sense. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess. Sure. So, I think he had that stupid monk hair.
Yeah, he had the shaved on the top with just the ring that went around. Like it was, he took a wreath and put it on his head.
Yeah, poor guy having to cut his hair like that. Number 7 is 7. The one-off Dustin Rhodes character when he left in 1999 or so from WWE and went to WCW to float to the ring, in his own words, looking like Uncle Fester. But apparently Uncle Fester had a man-child with The Undertaker. Big brim hat, big long leather coat, especially back that Undertaker, like around the Cult era Undertaker. And that one's on there for just sheer idiocy.
It was such a terrible gimmick that the night that they debuted it, Dustin Rhodes completely dropped the gimmick. That's how terrible it was.
I don't know if that was. None of us know if it was planned, but it certainly looks like it would have been because I have no idea.
I think the whole thing looked like it was a knock on the Taker somehow.
I think it was that and just them Vince Russo getting a ha-ha, on WWE, Because, he probably would, Russo, the funny thing is he said he hated the Goldust character, but, he probably invented the Goldust character when Russo was in WWF.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So would Russo, if he wrote that script to be like a work, would that mean that he's ripping on his own character that he might have helped create in some form?
I think maybe he's lost track of who he did. Yeah. He didn't claim.
Yeah. So the next character is one that Mick had to tell me about. Go ahead, Mick.
I can't see that.
Apparently Mick can't read.
Was it Arachno Man?
No, the Juicer.
Oh, the Juicer, Art Barr.
The Juicer. I honestly thought it was a steroid gimmick or
that would have been
something.
Much cooler than what the gimmick was.
Or maybe he could have been a Simon Dean character. He always had this juicing machine when he wanted you to drink his Kool-Aid.
I think
Paul
it was
Heyman.
way before the idea of juicing machines.
Probably was.
But the Juicer was Art Barr, who... The easiest way to find Art Barr would be when Eddie Guerrero wrestled in Mexico before coming to the States. Art Barr was his tag team partner for years. They actually had a hair versus hair match.
Right.
Where Eddie lost, got his head shaved, and then Eddie rematched him a month later, and since Eddie didn't have hair to put on the line, he put Vicky Guerrero's hair on the line.
That's right.
It lost again, and they had to shave her head.
Yeah. And the Juicer was basically white. He was like supposed to be child friendly.
Yeah,
This weird running around in weird colored the Zumba pants, or that those pants are called.
With like a sleeveless white shirt,
white face
white
paint,
face with like black on it.
Yeah,
they put powder in his hair, and he wore a hat with baby powder in it. And guys would hit him, and powder would come off, or he'd take the hat off, and
he'd be running around screaming and cheering, and the fans would all have like their faces painted up. I don't even know if I can explain it. It just doesn't make any sense.
If I remember right, I think he got his power from water, and he would go out to the fans. Like if he was getting beat up, he'd go to the fans, and they'd hand him a drink of water, and he'd drink it, and it'd power him back up.
That's why he's so dusty. He needs to drink more water.
Juiced up.
So, oh gosh. So now we'll go into the one that you mentioned.
I'm sorry.
Arachnoman.
Brad
which
Armstrong.
was, yeah, fair. We already mentioned him. You know, Halloween Havoc winning.
Brad Armstrong.
That's probably that'd be the way to introduce himself. I mean, what else is he gonna say?
Brother of
B.G. James,
WWE
Road Dogg.
referee Scott Armstrong.
Brother of Road Dogg. He's part of the Armstrong curse, and in this one, he got part of his curse is. Well, he got to play Spider-Man, albeit one that was dressed as different colors of green. And the fact that
he shot confetti.
Yeah, and the WCW was gonna get sued by Marvel for obviously him being Spider-Man, and they dropped the character
pretty quick.
Thankfully, because why would you have a character dressed? If you're gonna go that far, why don't you just contact Marvel, make a Spider-Man? The monster trucks do it all the time. There's a Superman, a Batman, a Spider-Man, a Ninja Turtle monster truck, and it would make more sense. In Japan, there's been a Lupin the Third, there's been a Sonic recently, and they're all licensed.
Yeah.
How hard would that be to just get them the license, make a Spider-Man one? Jeez, RoboCop was at an event twice now. Recently he was at one, and then
Detroit,
and then he was at old in '92 and helped Sting escape the cage. I think it might have been. Yeah. Help him escape that little personal cage to get back to the Four Horsemen.
It sticks in my head. I want to say Starrcade '98.
No, it'd be like '92.
No,
it wasn't. No, it was way early.
No, because it was when they.
This is blonde Sting. This is blonde hair, a high top Sting.
That sticks in my head for some reason.
No, Starrcade '98. That was him and Hogan.
That might be.
At RoboCop that match would probably be better.
Well, by that point, I'm sure Hogan was part way to being RoboCop.
And I think with number 4, we will shock the world because it is none other than the Shockmaster.
He didn't come through the wall.
Well, he's not going to use the door.
Who was Tugboat?
Yeah, Tugboat.
It was a stormtrooper, a Star Wars stormtrooper helmet that they put silver glitter all
Silver
over.
and purple, I think. It had to have some purple in that thing.
And his voice was provided by Arn Anderson.
I thought it was Ole.
No,
just like
Ole
the
was Black Scorpion. It was Arn.
Okay. And he wore this...
He made his debut on Flair for the Gold.
Yeah, and it was at a pay-per-view. I think it was Starrcade.
Clash of the Champions.
Was
it?
It
was on their Saturday night show.
No, that was a show. That was a pay-per-view or a TV show.
It had him in Clash of the Champions.
Well, he wore no shirt. And
no, he had the sleeveless like flannel.
No, not when he came out originally debuted.
He had that. He had the sleeveless flannel.
He had like Mantar looking.
The cape, like
not a cape, but like a fur like jacket.
That's what it was.
And then he had like
blue jeans.
Yeah, and then he was like.
After he fell through the wall.
Yeah, because when they go, no, shock the world. This little pup goes poof, and then he goes, all right, and you hear it's on one of the commentators, right? And then he just crashes through the brick wall.
And you hear Sid say, "I told you."
I don't know if it was Sid. I think Jesse Ventura was on the commentary, and I think it was like a bet. I'd love to find out like. They're like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. This isn't going to work. Who the heck's going to be doing this? I think that's what happened.
Well, immediately...
I don't think anyone knew this was going to work.
Immediately, the helmet fell off, and he had to grab it and shove it back on.
And then he got up and tried to be all intimidating to, who was it? Sid and Harlem Heat.
I don't think
because he was Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog, and Sting's partner.
I don't think he ever had a match. I think that
was it. No, he had like 3 or 4 matches. He's around for about a month. Wow. Tag matches. They didn't stick him really any single stuff. And then they got rid of the helmet. He didn't wear the helmet, and I think he wore something out, like he carried something to the ring, I think maybe, and that was it. It was done.
His ego?
No, that was left in the back, man, after all the guys laughed at him. I think that Dusty Rhodes came up with that character, and they were talking about that on one of those like Legends roundtables where they get legends. Duddy Rhodes?
Duddy
Rhodes and his daughter Cody. That's from a recent Botchamania. You need to check that out. So, yeah, I think that he said about that they seriously, I don't think any of them. Dusty Rhodes, I think, admitted to making up the character. And then
I wouldn't admit that.
I would. Now, come on, looking back, who cares? So, we will go from there to a Dungeon of Doom alumni
who actually debuted at Halloween Havoc. I might be the only one on the list that debuted at Halloween Havoc.
As Tony Schiavone, the great Tony Schiavone would say, the Yeti, what was it, Reese from the Flock, 7'1".
No, he was
Bill was 7'4".
7'4",
but he was 7'1".
Yes.
Or really?
Yeah. No. You got he was 7'4".
Okay. He was a big dude.
But in the video, they said he was like 7'8", 7'9", because the Giant, that's who was the 7'1", that they used to say was 7'4".
Right. And he was for a Yeti, he had a lot of bandages.
He was a mummy, and if you want to see what he looks like, just type in the Yeti Dry Humps Hogan, because that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah. Giant had Hogan in a bear hug. So he comes out acting like a stupid, dumb mummy, and then gets on the other side of Hogan, kind of puts his arm around and just starts wiggling and moving. Dude, I have no idea. I think it's because he hasn't been alive in 3,000 years and didn't understand what was going on.
It's like getting out of prison.
His brain was still...
You want to get yourself
He was like Brooks in Shawshank. He just didn't know what was going on.
No, he didn't hang himself. He should have.
No, he's got enough of the rat to do it.
He needs that to wipe.
Well, you never know. It could have happened. It was off screen. Legend of Doom, they were kind of weird dudes. Maybe the shark ate him.
Wow. It would have...
Shark, that's a guy we didn't have on there.
Had it been in that only week that he was around, they made him change the name.
So, I think we'll go from one mythological creature to another with number 2. The guy that we've talked a lot about since we've started this show and has been on Raw a lot is CM Punk.
Yes.
CM Punk is number 2. No, it is Kevin Nash, and it's not as Diesel. It is not as a weird character named Vinny Vegas. It as, go ahead, you know more about him than I even do.
Oz. He made his debut at Clash of the Champions. Ted Turner, who owned WCW, had acquired the rights to a bunch of different movies and was doing colorization versions. I think it was, they were doing this big advertisement for like...
It wasn't just that. He thought they could make a stable, I think, of
but I think at the time, they were getting ready to have The Wizard of Oz on, and they were making a big deal about it, and to the point that they debuted a character that was supposed to be Oz, I guess the Wizard.
Yeah.
And he actually had Dorothy, the Tin Man, Scarecrow, Toto, some old dude, I don't know who that was supposed to be. But they all were there, and he came out of what looked like the Emerald City, and would come down to the ring, and it was terrible.
Would he wear a green, had a big like cape thing that kind of like covered him, that you couldn't see him when he came down?
And he had that mask that was like, had a white beard.
Yeah.
And kind of like a Sultan type
Did he have like different weird hair? Like, didn't he have like colored hair or something?
It was white.
White, yeah. I thought it was something. I have no idea what they were thinking with having a wrestling Wizard of Oz character. Because that is the dumbest thing.
It was just one of those tie-ins, like the Kiss Demon, which we talked about.
He's just too cool in terms of the face paint and the character. Not the character, like, it's just, man, it could have worked. It could have worked. You gave it, though, to Dale Torborg, man, who cares? You know, that's probably the biggest problem with him.
There was another guy that played the Kiss Demon before him.
Jeez. So, this leads into the #1 dumbest character of all time.
Which we'll tell you the character, and then you'll be completely surprised on what later gimmick he got.
Okay. I think we should try to we should play the game where it's what inanimate object is he supposed to be? And it is kind of a seasonal themed. I can't say anything else. Okay, let's throw out ideas. What's a seasonal
Due to the
thing?
separation of church and state, we can't call it what it actually is.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think he was a wrestling pumpkin. Right?
And he definitely wasn't a turkey.
No, the gobbledygooker is not on the list. Hector Guerrero
gets honorable mention because every character Hector Guerrero played, from the gobbledygooker, Lasertron, to
Hector Guerrero. Isn't he on TNA? That deserves a character gimmick.
Yeah, he had like the.
He's on. Well, yeah, I think he's a commentator too. If that counts. You're on TNA. I'm sorry.
Probably his worst gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. Just being on TNA. So, I don't think he was Uncle Sam or something I saw from The Simpsons once. Uncle Slam. He was a wrestler who fought. It was like an Osama bin Laden wrestler. And
well, he wasn't an Arbor Day.
Wasn't it? No.
He's close.
No. Yeah, exactly.
He was close.
You gotta put some lights on that thing. And I think you'll come up with the Christmas Creature. And this was played by
Glenn Jacobs. Who later became Kane.
Yeah. So
it took him years to get a good gimmick.
Yeah, he had a string quite a lot.
Isaac Yankem.
Yeah, a dentist as a wrestler.
He was the fake Diesel.
Yep. Yeah. Jim Ross got. I think he got fired. I think he had Bell's palsy. Left, came back. They made him a bad guy, and he was on there, and he's talking about how they were bringing back Razor Ramon and Diesel, and they were in WCW at the time. So even as a kid, you're like, well, the guys are gone. Did they get him back?
They were with the NWO.
Yeah. Did they get him back? You know, because you don't know. Because you said they're invading. You don't really know what they're coming. So
they were on loan.
They bring back these guys. They brought back the characters. And it was Razor Ramon and Diesel, but it wasn't played by the original people. It was like George Clooney playing Batman. Or Val Kilmer. That's worse.
Or
Val
Christian Bale.
No.
There's only one Batman. It's Michael Keaton.
No. It's just like there's only one Joker. It's Heath Ledger. It's not Jack Nicholson.
Not anymore. No. Who would have thought that Jack Nicholson would outlive Heath Ledger?
Well, who would have thought Mike Tyson's still alive and irrelevant in the news sometimes anymore? So let's get back to the Christmas Creature, because it was a wrestling Christmas tree. Literally wore green, kind of looked like an elf a little bit.
Greenish brown.
Yeah, wrapped in Christmas lights. You couldn't see anything. I mean, you couldn't, like, there's just like holes cut out for the eyes. And
yeah,
that was
there
about
wasn't
it.
like much of a face of this thing.
No skin. I mean, you could. It was head to toe like a walking Christmas tree, and this is early Kane. I mean, this predates any of the stuff that anyone would really be out watching. So he was really green, and no pun intended.
Which is also kind of funny because Kane, one of his gimmicks is the whole fire. So, the Christmas Creature versus Kane, obviously Kane would win because the Christmas Creature, and especially in an Inferno match, he would just get fire.
Oh, dude, he wouldn't have to get just like a forest fire. Smokey'd have to be the ref, and then they'd have to come up with a fireman gimmick to put him out.
Firebreaker Chip.
See? Exactly. We'll figure out. See, there's like a character
for everything.
You could have a town of like every job at this town, and they're all wrestlers. I'm sure if we dig hard enough, we could find a wrestling pharmacist.
Parts Unknown has a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Or well, was it Dudleyville? They had lots of wrestlers too.
Yeah, but they were all related.
That's okay. West Virginia's all related. So, Christmas Creature's #1, and it is terrible. And there's actually not too much on YouTube either to really go back and watch. I'm going to try to put some clips of some of these Halloween Havoc things, some of these top 10 videos, give you guys a shot and see what you guys like.
Or at least put links to the videos.
Yeah, please put comments. What do you guys think? Because obviously there's probably a lot that we forgot. There's a lot that...
Or maybe you disagree with the order.
Yeah, I mean...
Somebody should be higher.
Someone can make a top 50 of this. And in a lot of ways...
a top 100 if you throw in some of the independent.
That's.
gimmicks.
I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, that's the reason why we didn't have like Chikara guys, because they make sense in
And we
their
tried to
in their
stick-
league. In their league, they make sense.
We also tried to stick within the U.S.
Yeah, because what's goofy to us is a little different. Like the ladder in DDT.
The ladder rules.
Now, could we consider that? I mean, but it kind of is relevant in that league, because that league is really freaking weird.
Anything can happen.
That girl, I mean, there's
Hustle. I
Hustle
think
had
was,
a
yeah.
Hustle had a guy. They killed a character, and they had an M Bison guy.
That was the one they killed.
Yeah, that's right. It was the one they killed. They had Yinling, the erotic terrorist. I mean,
Razor Ramon, hard gay.
yeah, but to us they're funny, and in there they were funny too. But that was the
They had their own
purpose.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, but that was
And the
thing.
Monster Squad to fight the Power Rangers.
That's right. But yeah, they like shoot like their hands go like this and like mist or these kind of like confetti would spray all over them. They'd wrap them up. It's like, but I mean, all those like which is CP Monk.
Yeah.
And Colt Cabani, they were meant to be funny. They were meant to, that was like, it'd be like putting Crash Holly when he was the hardcore champion, and he's meant to be that ditzy, goofy guy.
Okay.
But that was the point. The point was to be
Let's even
Chavo Guerrero with Pepe.
Oh, okay.
The horse he rode, the horse on the stick. But that was the point. The point was supposed to be that.
Well,
so
even,
you can't have a character like that.
Al Snow.
No, with
Pretty much
Pepper.
everything with Al Snow.
Oh, Avatar.
Shinobi.
Even Leaf Cassidy.
There's
even.
somebody we could have put on the list, though. Autumn Montoya, Portuguese Manowar.
Yeah, just incredible. PJ Polacco.
Well,
whatever
I mean,
the heck
like,
he's going by now.
With Mexico, we could have put, like, the Psycho Circus, but those guys are kind of cool.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
I mean,
A
there's
whole circus of there's Zombie Clown.
Oh, it's like
Killer Clown.
Well, it's not just that. That's like the ECW Zombie. I think that's hilarious. When he came out and got on the mic and goes, "Arr!" I'm sold.
Well,
I'm sold.
even Kevin
sold.
Thorne. Some people consider that
Right,
a bad gimmick. Of
I
thought it was.
You know what's
awesome.
funny? It predates the Twilight stuff, and somehow if it was done now, people would make it a ripoff. Would say it's a ripoff, but the funny thing is, it was done before.
Well, it was
I
kind
don't
of a ripoff of Gangrel, but
yeah, I think it was a better Gangrel in some ways. He looked cooler, fit the part more. Well, the
He had
other
a
one,
really
Mordecai.
hot-
He was Mordecai. That was
Yeah.
really bad.
Mordecai
was terrible.
he had a really hot vampire chick with
Yeah,
him.
all that helped.
Hang
Ariel,
upside
Shelly
down.
Martinez, or whatever the heck she was in TNA. I don't even remember what her name was in TNA.
Well, we even toyed with Damien Demento, putting
Damien
him on.
Demento.
Had a
What an
Venus
idiot that
flytrap.
guy is. Yeah.
His cape looked like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah. Honestly, it's in some ways, some of those guys are no different than the old Undertaker, like the original
Exactly,
coming out
so-
from the urn Undertaker.
Our decision making was based on just how ridiculous and how bad, with all the gimmicks that have been around. And some of the gimmicks may have started out kind of silly, but eventually got okay. These gimmicks just terrible.
There's a reason why you don't hear of these characters anymore. There's a reason why Kane is Kane and not the Christmas creature in WB holding, a couple world championships.
A couple different times when they had the gimmick battle royals,
Right.
we never saw those characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, didn't Gobbledygook wrestle at WrestleMania?
He wasn't on the list.
Iron Sheik was in that. That's who won that. The
But
gimmick battle royal.
see how that was a gimmick, Devin?
It's a gimmick, but it's not like I always thought the gimmick battle royal was supposed to be like a really like stupid ideas. Repo Man. I like the Repo Man. I can't help it. Maybe it's because he looks like my dad. I don't know. Kind of reminded me of my dad.
I don't see that at all.
I can see that.
Barry Darso, Smash.
Demolition. We could put them on there for copyright infringement.
Ah, Demolition were cool.
All right. Well, check out WrestlingRingPost.com. Please leave comments. Please tell us whatever you guys think. Tell us your top 10. Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us if we're a-holes or d-bags. I don't care. Just stay tuned for more.
F-holes.